Maya Rodriguez stepped off the transport ship and into the bustling spaceport of Nexus Prime. The air tasted different here, thick with alien scents and the metallic tang of advanced technology. Around her, beings from across the galaxy moved, with purpose, their forms ranging from the towering crystal-skinned Vorthons to the sleek, silver-scaled Centauri. She pulled her single duffel bag closer and tried not to stare. Back on Earth's orbital shipyards, she had seen aliens before, but never so many different species in one place. Here, she was the oddity. Humans were rare this far from Earth, and she could feel curious eyes tracking her movement through the crowd. The galactic combat arena loomed ahead through the spaceport's massive viewing windows. The structure stretched into the sky like a mountain of metal and glass, its surface covered in holographic displays showing highlights from recent battles. Massive biomechanical titans clashed on the screens, their pilots guiding them through devastating combat with skill that made Maya's stomach tighten with nervous energy. She had studied every available recording of arena matches during her 6-month journey to Nexus Prime. The titans were incredible machines, part technology and part living creature, standing 30 meters tall and capable of feats that defied physics. Each one bonded with a single pilot, creating a partnership that determined victory or defeat in the arena's deadly games. Maya found the registration office after getting lost twice in the spaceport's maze of corridors. The Krillian clerk behind. The desk looked up from his holographic display with obvious annoyance. His forearms moved in complex patterns as he processed information, while his main eyes studied Maya with unconcealed disdain. "Name and species," he said in heavily accented, "Galactic Standard, Maya Rodriguez, human." The clerk's secondary eyes snapped to attention. He checked his display twice, then looked at Maya again as if she might have changed species while he wasn't watching. "You are the human pilot?" "That's right." "The first human in the arena for 97 standard years?" Maya nodded. The last human pilot had been her great-uncle Tony, and his defeat had become legendary for all the wrong reasons. The Vorthon champion had ended the match in under 30 seconds, leaving Tony unconscious and his Titan permanently damaged. The clerk processed her registration with visible reluctance. "You will be assigned Titan Unit 7, designated Apex class. Report to Bay 47 for initial assessment tomorrow at 0800 hours. He handed her a data pad containing her schedule and facility access codes. As Maya turned to leave, she heard him speaking quietly into his communication device in the Krillian language. She caught enough words to understand that he was placing a bet against her survival. The dormitory assigned to arena competitors was functional but comfortable. Maya's room was small, with a single window overlooking the practice arenas where pilots and titans trained daily. She watched a Centauri pilot guide his sleek, blue-scaled Titan through combat maneuvers with fluid grace. The connection between them seemed effortless, as if they shared a single mind. Her communication device chimed with an incoming message. The holographic display showed Jake Morrison, a grizzled human military advisor, who had been assigned to her support team by Earth's colonial government. "Rodriguez, we need to talk. Meet me in the commissary in 20 minutes. Maya found Jake easily enough. He was the only other human in the vast dining hall, sitting alone at a corner table, while alien competitors clustered in their species groups. His weathered face and military bearing marked him as someone who had seen real combat, not just arena spectacle. "Sit down, kid," Jake said without preamble. "We need to discuss what you're walking into." Maya slid into the seat across from him. "I've studied every match recording available. I know the risks. The recordings don't tell the whole story." Jake leaned forward, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "The Titan they're giving you, Unit 7, it's killed its last 3 pilots. Different species, all experienced warriors. The Arena Council is setting you up to fail. Why would they do that? Because humans embarrass them. We're small, we're weak by galactic standards, and we don't fit into their warrior culture. They want to prove once and for all that we don't belong here." Maya felt a chill that had nothing to do with the commissary's air circulation. "Then why assign me that particular Titan?" "Because if you die quickly, it reinforces their point. If you refuse to pilot it, you forfeit, and Earth loses face in the galactic community. Either way, they win. Across the dining hall, a group of Krillian pilots noticed Maya and began laughing among themselves. One of them, a massive warrior covered in ritual scars, stood and approached their table. His forearms were crossed in a gesture Maya recognized as threatening. The little human thinks she can play with the big warriors, he said in broken galactic standard. Your uncle screamed like a child when Vextar broke his mind. You will scream louder. Jake's hand moved toward the weapon at his belt, but Maya placed her fingers on his wrist. Thank you for sharing your opinion, she said calmly to the Krillian. I look forward to our match. The warrior's laugh rumbled like distant thunder. There will be no match, small one. Unit 7 will eat your mind before you can even establish connection. After the Krillian returned to his table, Jake shook his head. That was Thorak the Destroyer. 37 victories, 0 defeats. He'll probably be your first opponent if you survive the Titan bonding. Maya stared out the commissary's viewing window at the practice arenas. Tell me about Unit 7. Everything you know. It's big, even for an Apex class. Bio-neural interface is unstable, prone to feedback loops that can fry a pilot's nervous system. The last pilot, a Vorthan champion named Kextal, lasted 43 seconds before the Titan's mental pressure killed him. What about the others? Centauri pilot made it 2 minutes. Krillian lasted 90 seconds and spent 6 months in psychiatric care afterward. The arena's medical staff thinks the Titan might be defective, but they keep using it because it makes for good entertainment when pilots die spectacularly. Maya finished her meal in silence, processing everything Jake had told her. Around them, alien competitors continued their conversations in dozens of different languages, planning strategies and boasting about past victories. None of them paid attention to the small human woman who would face their most dangerous challenge tomorrow. That night, Maya lay awake studying technical specifications on her datapad. Unit 7's biomechanical systems were more complex than anything she had worked on in Earth shipyards, but the basic principles remained the same. Every machine, no matter how advanced, followed certain rules of operation. She fell asleep wondering if those rules applied to something that was half alive. The next morning, Maya arrived at Bay 47 exactly on time. The massive chamber could have housed a small starship, but it felt cramped with Unit 7 dominating the space. The Titan stood motionless in its maintenance cradle, a mountain of dark metal and organic tissue that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. Maya had seen Titans in recordings, but experiencing one in person was completely different. Unit 7 radiated a presence that made her skin crawl and her heart race simultaneously. Its bio-neural interface ports glowed with unstable energy, crackling with electricity that cast shifting shadows on the bay walls. A Centauri maintenance chief named Bextel approached with obvious reluctance. His silver scales had dulled with age, and his movements carried the weariness of someone who had seen too many pilots die. Human pilot Maya Rodriguez, he said formally. I am required to prepare you for initial synchronization with Unit 7. Do you have any final requests before we begin? Maya looked up at the Titan's massive head, where clusters of sensor arrays tracked her movement like predatory eyes. Can I examine the neural interface specifications first? Vextal's surprise was obvious. Most pilots prefer to establish dominance immediately. Delay shows weakness to the Titan's consciousness. I'm not most pilots. No, Vextal agreed quietly. You are not. Maya spent 3 hours studying Unit 7's technical specifications, while Vextal watched with growing confusion. Most pilots demanded immediate access to their Titans, eager to prove their dominance through force of will. Maya, however, traced neural pathway diagrams with her finger and made notes on her datapad like she was planning to repair a broken engine. The bio-neural interface shows severe damage, she said finally. These aren't manufacturing defects. Someone hurt this Titan. Vextal's silver scales shifted color slightly, a sign of discomfort among his species. Unit 7 has always been difficult. Previous pilots attempted standard dominance protocols. What exactly are dominance protocols? The pilot establishes mental superiority over the Titan's consciousness. Most species achieve this through demonstrations of strength, anger, or fear. The Titan learns to obey or face punishment through neural feedback. Maya looked up at Unit 7's massive head. The Titan's sensor arrays tracked her movement constantly, but there was something different about its attention now. Where other pilots might see predatory focus, Maya recognized something else entirely. "It's not trying to threaten me," she said quietly. "It's trying to communicate. Unit 7 does not communicate. It destroys minds." Maya climbed the maintenance ladder to get closer to the Titan's head. Each sensor array was the size of her entire body, glowing with soft blue light that pulsed in complex patterns. She had seen similar patterns before in the biomechanical systems of Earth's orbital shipyards, but never this intricate. "The pulse sequences aren't random," she called down to Vextal. "They're following mathematical progressions. Fibonacci sequences, prime number series, harmonic frequencies. This Titan is trying to show intelligence, not aggression." Vextal climbed up to join her, his forearms gripping the ladder with practiced ease. "You see patterns where others see chaos? I see damaged neural pathways trying to work around trauma." Maya pointed to several interface ports that sparked with unstable energy. Every time a pilot forced a connection, they created scarring in the bioneural tissue. Unit 7 isn't violent by nature. It's been tortured into violence. The maintenance chief stared at the pulsing light patterns for several minutes. "If you are correct, how do you propose to establish connection without causing further damage?" "By asking permission instead of demanding obedience." Maya spent the rest of the day mapping Unit 7's neural architecture. The Titan's biomechanical brain was far more complex than she had expected, with organic and artificial components integrated at the cellular level. Previous pilots had tried to overwrite the Titan's consciousness with their own, but Maya could see how this approach had created layers of psychological trauma. Jake found her in the maintenance bay that evening, still working by the light of her datapad while Unit 7 loomed silently overhead. "Kid, you need to eat something," he said, offering her a ration pack. "And sleep. The other pilots are already making jokes about the human who's afraid to touch her Titan." "Let them joke." Maya accepted the food but continued studying her notes. "Jake, what do you know about the architects?" "Ancient species that disappeared about 2,000 years ago. They built some impressive technology before vanishing completely." "Why?" Unit 7's bioneural design includes architectural elements that don't match current galactic technology. The base consciousness patterns are too sophisticated for a simple weapon system. I think the architects created these Titans for a different purpose. Jake sat down on a maintenance crate. "What kind of purpose?" "Partnership. Not dominance, not control, but actual cooperation between two intelligent beings." Maya showed him the neural mapping data on her pad. "Look at these connection points. They're designed for two-way communication, shared decision-making, even emotional bonding. The current arena system has corrupted something beautiful into a tool of violence." The next morning, Maya requested a private session with Unit 7. Arena regulations required a full medical team to be present, but she convinced them to observe from the control room rather than inside the bay. If she was right about the Titan's nature, an audience would only make the situation more difficult. Maya approached Unit 7 slowly, her hands visible and empty. The Titan's sensor arrays tracked her movement, but the aggressive red glow had faded to a softer blue. She stopped just close enough to touch the access panel for the neural interface. "I know you're in pain," she said quietly. "I know they've hurt you, and I know you don't trust pilots anymore. I don't want to control you. I want to understand you." Unit 7's massive head tilted slightly, bringing one cluster of sensor arrays closer to Maya's position. The mathematical light patterns became more complex, shifting through sequences that seemed almost like language. Maya placed her palm against the cool metal of the access panel. "I'm going to try a connection now. If it hurts or feels wrong, break it immediately. You have that choice." She activated the neural interface with the gentlest possible settings. Instead of forcing her consciousness into the Titan's mind, she opened her thoughts and waited for Unit 7 to decide whether to respond. The connection began as a whisper rather than a shout. Maya felt Unit 7's presence brush against her consciousness, like a cautious animal approaching an offered hand. The Titan's mind was vast and complex, filled with memories of battles fought under previous pilots who had treated it as nothing more than a weapon. But underneath the trauma, Maya sensed something wonderful. Unit 7 possessed genuine intelligence, creativity, even a sense of humor. The Titan had been trying to protect its pilots, not harm them. Each violent episode had been an attempt to communicate dangers that the pilots couldn't perceive through their forced connections. "You were trying to warn them," Maya whispered. "You could sense threats they couldn't detect, but they wouldn't listen." Unit 7's response came as a flood of images and emotions. The Titan showed her battle scenarios where its enhanced senses had detected enemy weaknesses, environmental hazards, and tactical opportunities that its pilots had missed. But every attempt to share this information had been interpreted as rebellion, met with neural punishment designed to force obedience. Maya experienced the Titan's loneliness, its desperate desire to form a real partnership with someone who could understand its nature. The connection deepened as Unit 7 realized that Maya wasn't trying to dominate its consciousness, but actually listening to what it had been trying to say for years. In the control room, Vextal watched the neural activity monitors with growing amazement. The feedback patterns showed perfect synchronization between pilot and Titan, something he had never seen before in 40 years of arena maintenance. "Medical readings are stable," reported Dr. Lisa Park, the human xenobiologist assigned to Maya's support team. "Neural stress indicators are actually decreasing in both pilot and Titan. This is unprecedented." Jake leaned over the communication console. "Maya, how are you feeling in there?" Maya's voice came through clearly, without the strain or aggression that marked most pilot communications. "It's incredible, Jake. Unit 7 isn't a weapon, it's a person. A living, thinking person who's been trapped in a nightmare for years." In the bay below, Unit 7 moved for the first time in weeks. The massive Titan lifted one arm slowly, carefully, extending it toward Maya in what could only be described as a gesture of friendship. Maya reached out and placed her small hand against the Titan's enormous finger. The connection between them strengthened, becoming something that neither the arena's builders nor its current operators had ever intended. Maya and Unit 7 weren't pilot and machine, master and servant, or even human and Titan. They were partners. Word of the successful connection spread through the arena complex within hours. For the first time in Unit 7's service record, a pilot had established stable neural link without sedatives, restraints, or neural punishment protocols. Arena officials didn't know whether to be impressed or concerned about the implications. Maya spent the afternoon in the practice arena, learning to move with Unit 7's massive form. The Titan responded to her thoughts with eager cooperation, its movements becoming more graceful and precise as their partnership deepened. Other pilots gathered to watch, their expressions ranging from curiosity to outright disbelief. That evening, as Maya prepared for her first official match announcement, she realized that she and Unit 7 had already achieved something more important than any arena victory. They had proven that the relationship between pilot and Titan could be based on mutual respect rather than dominance. Now they just had to survive long enough to show the galaxy what partnership could accomplish. The arena announcer's voice boomed across the complex, speaking in 12 different languages to accommodate the diverse crowd. Maya listened to the Galactic Standard version, while she and Unit 7 waited in the preparation chamber. In the red corner, representing the Krillian warrior clans Thorak the Destroyer and his Titan Bonecrusher. 37 victories, 0 defeats, scourge of the Outer Rim battles. The crowd's roar shook the walls. Thorak was a fan favorite, known for ending matches quickly and violently. His Crimson Titan stood 28 meters tall and moved with the speed of something half its size. In the blue corner, representing Earth Colony Command Maya Rodriguez and Titan Unit 7. 0 victories, 0 defeats, first human pilot in 97 standard years. The crowd's response was immediate and harsh. Boos echoed through the arena, mixed with laughter and shouted insults in various alien languages. Maya heard betting calls offering odds of 1,000 to 1 against her survival past the first minute. Unit 7's sensor arrays flickered with agitation. Through their neural link, Maya felt the Titan's desire to prove itself, to show these mocking crowds what they were truly capable of together. "Easy, partner. Maya said quietly. Let them underestimate us. It's an advantage. Jake's voice crackled through the communication system. All systems green, Maya. Medical team is standing by. Remember, if things go bad, eject immediately. Your safety is more important than winning. Maya smiled grimly. We're not planning to lose, Jake. The preparation chamber doors opened with a grinding mechanical sound. Maya guided Unit 7 forward into the arena proper, and the noise hit them like a physical blow. 50,000 spectators filled the tiered seating that rose up around the combat zone. Holographic displays showed close-ups of both Titans while commentators analyzed their capabilities. Zeph Kalos, the arena's primary commentator, was a veteran observer who had called matches for over 2 decades. His voice carried across the arena with practiced authority. Ladies and gentlemen, beings of all species, we have an unusual match today. The human pilot Maya Rodriguez has somehow managed to establish stable connection with Unit 7, the Titan that killed its last 3 pilots. But establishing connection and surviving combat are very different challenges. Across the arena floor, Thorax Crimson Titan moved into position. Bone Crusher lived up to its name, covered in spikes and blade attachments that had torn apart dozens of opponents. Thorax himself was visible through his Titan's transparent cockpit, all 4 arms working as control systems while his eyes blazed with battle fury. Human, Thorax's voice boomed through the arena's communication system. Your uncle died screaming. You will die the same way, but faster. I am feeling merciful today. Maya didn't respond to the taunt. Instead, she focused on the neural link with Unit 7, feeling the Titan's calm confidence flow through their connection. Her partner had analyzed Bone Crusher's movement patterns and weapon configurations, identifying weaknesses that previous opponents had missed. The starting horn sounded. Thorax attacked immediately, exactly as Maya had expected. Bone Crusher launched itself forward with incredible speed, blade-tipped arms extending to deliver a killing strike. The Krillian strategy was always the same: end the fight before his opponent could adapt to his speed. But Unit 7 wasn't where Bone Crusher expected to find it. Maya and her Titan moved with perfect synchronization, stepping aside from Thorax's charge at the last possible moment. Unit 7's massive hand caught Bone Crusher's extended arm and used the smaller Titan's momentum against it, sending Thorax tumbling across the arena floor. The crowd's roar faltered into confused silence. No one had ever avoided Thorax's opening attack so cleanly. Thorax recovered quickly, spinning Bone Crusher around for another assault. This time he approached more cautiously, using his Titan's superior speed to circle Unit 7 while looking for an opening. Impossible, Thorax snarled through the communication system. That machine should be uncontrollable. How do you maintain neural link without sedatives? Maya still didn't answer. She was too busy processing the information that Unit 7 shared through their connection. The Titan's enhanced senses detected microfractures in Bone Crusher's left shoulder joint, stress patterns that indicated a weak point in the armor plating. When Thorax attacked again, Maya was ready. Unit 7 absorbed the impact on its heavily armored chest, then struck back with surgical precision. The Titan's massive fist connected with Bone Crusher's damaged shoulder joint, and Thorax's weapon arm went dead. My systems are failing, Thorax reported to his support team. The human targeted our exact weak point. How could she know? In the observation deck, arena officials watched the match with growing concern. Maya's fighting style was unlike anything they had seen before. She didn't rely on aggression or brute force like other pilots. Instead, she and Unit 7 fought with intelligence and precision that made every move count. Dr. Lisa Park monitored Maya's vital signs from the medical station. Neural synchronization holding steady at 96%. I've never seen readings this stable during combat. Jake watched the tactical display with professional interest. She's not just piloting that Titan. They're thinking together, sharing information in real time. It's like watching a new form of combat. On the arena floor, Thorax grew desperate. With one arm disabled, he tried to compensate with more aggressive attacks, but Maya and Unit 7 stayed, one step ahead. Every strike was deflected or turned aside, while their counterattacks found vulnerable points with devastating accuracy. The crowd began to change. The initial boos and laughter faded as spectators realized they were watching something extraordinary. Maya's movements were fluid and graceful, making Unit 7 dance despite its massive size. "This is unprecedented," Zeph Kalos announced, his practiced composure cracking with excitement. "The human pilot has not only survived Thorax's assault, she's winning. Unit 7 moves like it's an extension of Rodriguez's own body." Thorax made one final desperate attempt, throwing all remaining power into Bone Crusher's weapon systems. Crimson energy blades extended from the Titan's functional arm, and he lunged forward in a killing strike that had ended many previous matches. Maya saw the attack coming through Unit 7's enhanced perception. Time seemed to slow as they moved together, the Titan's massive frame sliding past the energy blade by mere centimeters. Unit 7's hand closed around Bone Crusher's throat, and Maya felt her partner's desire to end the match without causing permanent harm. "Yield," Maya said quietly through the communication system. Thorax Titan struggled in Unit 7's grip, but the battle was over. Bone Crusher's remaining systems shut down one by one as Maya maintained the hold. The Krillian warrior had two choices: surrender or face complete system failure. "I yield," Thorax said finally, his voice thick with disbelief. The arena fell silent for a moment, then erupted in chaos. Half the crowd cheered while the other half demanded explanations. Betting markets crashed as impossible odds suddenly became reality. Maya Rodriguez, the underestimated human pilot, had defeated the arena's most feared champion. Maya guided Unit 7 to the center of the arena and raised the Titan's arms in victory. Through their neural link, she felt her partner's joy and pride. They had proven that partnership could triumph over dominance, that cooperation was stronger than control. In the observation deck, arena officials struggled to process what they had witnessed. Maya's victory wasn't just an upset, it was a fundamental challenge to everything they believed about pilot-Titan relationships. Zeph Kalos found his voice first. "Ladies and gentlemen, Maya Rodriguez has achieved the impossible. The human pilot and Unit 7 have defeated Thorax the Destroyer in a display of precision and partnership unlike anything in arena history." As Maya and Unit 7 left the combat zone, other competitors watched with new respect. The small human who had been mocked and dismissed had proven that Earth's approach to Titan piloting might be superior to methods that had dominated the galaxy for centuries. Maya's journey was just beginning, but she had already achieved something more important than victory. She had shown the galaxy that there was a better way to forge the bond between pilot and Titan. The real revolution was about to begin. Maya's victory over Thorax sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Within hours, news feeds across 12 star systems carried the story of the human pilot who had defeated the arena's most feared champion. Earth's colonial markets jumped by 30% as investors suddenly took notice of human capabilities. But Maya barely had time to process her newfound fame. Arena regulations required champions to face increasing challenges, and her next opponent was already being prepared. The tournament bracket showed her semi-final match against Kethvar the Shadow, a pilot whose reputation made Thorax look like a training exercise. Dr. Lisa Park found Maya in the medical bay, where she was undergoing routine scans after her victory. The xenobiologist's excitement was barely contained as she reviewed the neural activity readings. "Maya, these synchronization patterns are unlike anything in our databases. You and Unit 7 aren't just connected, you're actually sharing consciousness during combat. How is that even possible?" Maya sat up on the examination table, still feeling echoes of Unit 7's thoughts in her mind. "It started during our first connection. Unit 7 has been alone for so long, craving real partnership. When I opened my mind instead of trying to dominate, something new happened. The medical implications are staggering. You're proving that human neural architecture is uniquely compatible with Titan consciousness. Other species try to overpower their Titans, but humans can actually merge with them." Jake entered the medical bay carrying a data pad filled with intelligence reports. His expression was grim as he approached Maya's examination table. "We need To talk about your next opponent, he said without preamble. Kethvar isn't like Thorak. He doesn't rely on speed or strength. He fights with psychological warfare. Maya accepted the data pad and scrolled through Kethvar's match history. The Vorthon pilot had never lost a match in 6 years of competition. His Black Titan, designated Shadow Walker, was smaller than most arena champions, but covered in neural projection arrays that could affect enemy pilots directly. He gets inside his opponent's minds, Jake continued. Projects fear, doubt, false memories, even phantom pain. Most pilots break before the physical combat even begins. What about his Titan? What do we know about Shadow Walker's capabilities, Doctor? Park pulled up additional files on her portable scanner. Shadow Walker is heavily modified with neural warfare equipment. But here's the interesting part. The modifications are clearly causing stress to the Titan's organic components. The psychological attacks damage the pilot's Titan as much as the enemy. Maya studied the technical specifications with growing understanding. Kethvar is forcing his Titan to weaponize its own consciousness. That's why he's never lost. He's willing to torture his partner for victory. Can Unit 7 defend against mental attacks? Jake asked. We'll find out. But I think Unit 7 might be able to do more than just defend. Maya spent the next 3 days preparing for the psychological warfare she would face against Kethvar. Unlike her preparation for Thorak, which had focused on physical combat tactics, this required exploring the deeper aspects of her connection with Unit 7. The Titan's consciousness was vast and ancient, filled with memories that stretched back to its creation by the architects. Through their neural link, Maya began to understand the original purpose of the Titans. They had been designed as partners for exploration and discovery, not weapons of war. The architects created Titans to help them understand the universe, Maya explained to her support team during a strategy session. Each Titan was meant to bond with a single partner for life, sharing knowledge and experience across decades of cooperation. Vextal, who had become increasingly interested in Maya's unique approach, added his own observations. The current arena system corrupts this original design. Pilots use Titans as tools rather than partners, which explains why most connections are unstable and short-lived. What does this mean for facing Kethvar? Jake asked. It means Unit 7, and I have access to capabilities that Kethvar doesn't expect. His psychological attacks are designed to exploit the weakness of forced pilot-Titan bonds, but our partnership is voluntary and mutual. The day of the semi-final match arrived with unprecedented media attention. Representatives from dozens of worlds filled the arena's VIP sections, while betting pools reached record levels. Maya's odds had improved dramatically since her victory over Thorak, but Kethvar remained the overwhelming favorite. Kethvar himself waited in the preparation area adjacent to Maya's chamber. Through the transparent partition, she could see the Vorthon pilot performing ritual meditations designed to focus his mental abilities. His 4 eyes glowed with inner light as he prepared to project psychological warfare into his opponents. Mind Shadow Walker stood in the opposite preparation bay, its black surface absorbing light like a hole in space. Neural projection arrays covered the Titan's head and torso, creating a web of mental manipulation equipment that hummed with barely contained energy. Unit 7 sensed Maya's nervousness through their connection and sent waves of calm reassurance. The Titan's consciousness wrapped around hers like a protective barrier, offering strength and confidence that no amount of training could provide. Remember, Jake's voice came through the communication system. If the mental attacks become too intense, break the neural connection immediately. Losing a match is better than permanent psychological damage. Maya nodded, but she had no intention of breaking her partnership with Unit 7. They had come too far together to surrender now. The arena announcer introduced both pilots to a crowd that buzzed with anticipation. Kethvar's reputation for spectacular mental domination made his matches popular entertainment, but Maya's unexpected rise had created genuine uncertainty about the outcome. As the Titans entered the combat zone, Kethvar's psychological assault began immediately. Instead of waiting for the starting signal, he projected waves of fear and doubt directly at Maya's mind. Most pilots would have been overwhelmed before the match officially started, but Maya wasn't most pilots. Unit 7's consciousness absorbed the mental attack, like armor absorbing physical blows. The Titan's ancient mind had experienced psychological warfare before, during conflicts with species that the current galaxy had forgotten. More importantly, Unit 7's protective instincts toward Maya created a barrier that Kethvar's projections couldn't penetrate. Impossible. Kethvar snarled through the communication system. You should be screaming by now. How are you resisting my shadow touch? Maya felt Unit 7's amusement through their connection. Her partner found Kethvar's crude mental attacks primitive compared to the sophisticated consciousness sharing they had developed together. Your turn, Maya whispered to Unit 7. The Titan's response was not an attack but an offer. Through their neural link, Unit 7 projected the same sense of partnership and cooperation that had transformed Maya's piloting. The offer reached across the arena to Shadow Walker, showing Kethvar's tortured Titan what a healthy pilot-Titan relationship could feel like. Shadow Walker's response was immediate and devastating to Kethvar's strategy. The Black Titan's neural projection arrays began broadcasting Unit 7's message instead of Kethvar's attacks. For the first time in years, Shadow Walker experienced what it felt like to be treated as a partner rather than a weapon. Kethvar screamed as his own Titan turned against him. The psychological feedback from Shadow Walker's rebellion sent waves of mental anguish through his nervous system. He had spent years forcing his Titan to project pain and fear, never realizing that the damage flowed both ways through their connection. What have you done? Kethvar demanded, his four eyes blazing with rage and confusion. We showed your partner what friendship feels like, Maya replied simply. The match ended without physical combat. Shadow Walker refused to fight Unit 7, choosing instead to communicate with the larger Titan in the ancient language of the architects. Kethvar tried desperately to reassert control, but his Titan's consciousness had awakened to possibilities beyond violence and domination. Arena officials watched in stunned silence as Shadow Walker knelt before Unit 7 in a gesture of respect and recognition. The crowd's cheers turned to confused murmurs as they realized they were witnessing something beyond simple combat. Maya guided Unit 7 to Shadow Walker's side and extended one massive hand toward the kneeling Titan. When Shadow Walker reached up to touch Unit 7's offered hand, the connection between the two Titans created a feedback loop that spread throughout the arena's neural networks. Every Titan in the facility felt the moment of true partnership between Maya and Unit 7. The sensation rippled through their consciousness like a wave, awakening memories and possibilities that had been suppressed for generations. In maintenance bays throughout the complex, Titans began to stir with new awareness. The revolution that Maya and Unit 7 had started was spreading, and nothing would ever be the same. Maya had won her semi-final match without throwing a single punch. More importantly, she had proven that the power of partnership could transform not just individual relationships but entire systems of oppression. The championship final awaited, but Maya had already achieved something greater than victory. She had awakened hope. The arena complex buzzed with nervous energy as Maya prepared for the championship final. Throughout the facility, Titans were behaving strangely. Maintenance crews reported that their charges had become more responsive, more aware, as if something fundamental had changed in their consciousness. Arena officials held emergency meetings behind closed doors. Maya's influence on the Titan population was spreading beyond their control, threatening the established order that had governed the combat games for centuries. Jake found Maya in Unit 7's maintenance bay, where she sat quietly beside her partner's massive head. The Titan's sensor arrays pulsed with gentle light patterns that had become their private language. The Arena Council is scared, Jake said without preamble. They're talking about canceling the final match, claiming technical difficulties with the facility's neural networks. Maya looked up from her conversation with Unit 7. They can't cancel now. Too many people are watching. The galactic media would demand explanations. That's what I told them. But Maya, your final opponent isn't going to be another pilot. The Shadow Collective has decided to handle this personally. Dr. Lisa Park approached with her portable scanner, her face pale with worry. I've been monitoring the arena's central neural network. Something massive is being prepared in the deep maintenance levels. Bio-neural signatures indicate a Titan unlike anything in the official records. Through her connection with Unit 7, Maya felt her partner's sudden tension. The Titan's consciousness touched something ancient and terrible in the facility's lower levels, a presence that radiated pain and corruption. Unit 7 knows what it is, Maya said quietly. Show me. The images that flowed through their neural link made Maya gasp. Deep beneath the arena, the Shadow Collective had created an abomination. The Void Titan was not a single consciousness, but dozens of Titan minds forced together into one massive body. Each component consciousness screamed silently, trapped in a prison of metal and flesh. They're using it to maintain control, Maya realized. Every time a Titan shows independence, they feed its consciousness to that thing. It's powered by the suffering of our partners. Vexital emerged from behind Unit 7's maintenance equipment, his silver scales dark with distress. I helped build that monster, he said quietly. 20 years ago, when I was young and believed the arena's lies about Titan management, the Shadow Collective convinced us it was necessary for public safety. How many consciousnesses are trapped inside it? Jake asked. 47 confirmed, Vexital replied. Maybe more. Every Titan that showed too much independence. Every consciousness that tried to resist pilot domination. They're all there, forced to power the Collective's ultimate weapon. Maya stood up, her decision already made. Then we're going to free them. The championship final began with unprecedented ceremony. Representatives from every major galactic power filled the arena's VIP sections, while billions more watched through holographic broadcasts. Maya's journey from mocked underdog to championship finalist had captured the imagination of species across the galaxy. But when the Void Titan emerged from the deep maintenance levels, the crowd's excitement turned to horrified silence. The monster stood 40 meters tall, its surface covered in neural interface ports that sparked with tortured energy. Each port contained the consciousness of a Titan that had been sacrificed to create this ultimate weapon. Maya felt Unit 7's grief through their connection as her partner recognized friends and companions among the trapped consciousnesses. Some of the Titans in the Void Titan had been Unit 7's siblings, created together by the architects millennia ago. The Shadow Collective's representative pilot was barely visible within the Void Titan's command center, his body sustained by life support systems that allowed him to survive the neural feedback from controlling so many tortured minds simultaneously. Human pilot, the Collective's voice boomed through the arena's communication system. You have disrupted our carefully maintained order. This ends now. Maya guided Unit 7 into the combat zone, but she had no intention of fighting the Void Titan. In traditional combat, violence would only add to the suffering of the trapped consciousnesses within the monster. Instead, Maya opened her mind completely, allowing Unit 7's consciousness to flow through their connection without any barriers. The Titan's ancient wisdom and gentle nature radiated outward, touching every neural network in the arena. The effect was immediate and profound. Throughout the facility, every Titan felt the pure connection between Maya and Unit 7. The sensation spread like wildfire through the arena's networks, showing each consciousness what true partnership could feel like. The Void Titan shuddered as the trapped minds within it responded to Maya's offer of freedom. One by one, the neural interface ports began to fail as the imprisoned consciousnesses chose liberation over forced servitude. Impossible, the Shadow Collective's pilot screamed. They are weapons, not individuals. They exist to serve. But the Titans knew better now. Maya and Unit 7 had shown them a different way, a return to their original purpose as partners and companions rather than tools of war. The Void. Titan's massive form began to break apart as the trapped consciousnesses freed themselves from their prison. Each escaping mind carried with it the memory of Maya's gift, spreading the message of partnership throughout the galactic neural networks. Other Titans in the arena began to move without their pilot's commands. Shadow Walker stood beside Unit 7, followed by Bone Crusher and dozens of other Titans who had awakened to their true nature. They formed a circle around the collapsing Void Titan, offering comfort to the freed consciousnesses that emerged from the wreckage. The Shadow Collectives. Control systems failed completely as their ultimate weapon dissolved into its component parts. Without the Void Titan to maintain their dominance, the collective's power structure crumbled in minutes. Arena officials fled their control rooms as Titans throughout the facility asserted their independence. The age of forced pilot-Titan bonds was ending, replaced by something beautiful and unprecedented. Maya felt Unit 7's joy through their connection, as the Titan's long-lost siblings were finally free. The reunion of consciousness that had been separated for decades brought tears to Maya's eyes and hope to her heart. In the aftermath of the Void Titan's destruction, Maya stood before the galactic representatives who had come to witness the championship final. But instead of celebrating victory, she spoke about partnership, cooperation, and the rights of sentient beings everywhere. The Titans were never meant to be weapons, Maya said, her voice carrying through the arena's communication systems. To billions of listeners across the galaxy, they were created as partners, companions in exploration and discovery. Today we return to that original purpose. The crowd's response was mixed. Some cheered Maya's message of liberation, while others worried about the implications for galactic power structures. But the Titans themselves were united in their support for the human pilot who had shown them a better way. Maya and Unit 7 were declared champions, but more importantly, they became symbols of a new relationship between different species and artificial consciousness. The Academy for Titan Pilot Partnership that they established became a beacon of hope for beings throughout the galaxy. Years later, when historians studied the transformation of galactic society, they would mark Maya's championship victory as the beginning of a new age, an age where partnership replaced domination, where cooperation overcame conquest, and where a small human woman and her Titan companion proved that the greatest strength comes from standing together as equals. Maya Rodriguez had entered the arena as an underestimated engineer from Earth's orbital shipyards. She left as a champion who had changed the galaxy forever, proving that humanity's greatest gift to the universe was not superior technology or military might, but the simple recognition that every conscious being deserves respect, partnership, and freedom. The revolution was complete, and it had begun with a single act of kindness between a human pilot and her Titan partner.